What up, what up, what up? It's your boy, Cardinal Red, and we back for some more of that Ali Land boxing talk, people. And today we talking Manny Pacquiao training news. Manny Pacquiao test positive for excellence. Alright, man, so, I did a video earlier where I was referencing an article, man, I had found, and it's an amazing article, man, so, I had to come back. And the guy had a line in the article where he's talking about Pacquiao, man, I gotta find it, hold on, I should've, okay, here it is, hold on. So, he was talking about, basically about Manny Pacquiao, getting tested by VADA, I think it was the day after Christmas. And he was saying with Manny Pacquiao, okay, let me read it for you, okay? It's funny, man. Okay, hold on, let me find it, okay. Following his Wednesday run, Manny Pacquiao was greeted by a representative from VADA for a random drug test. After his blood was taken, Manny cheerily predicted he would test positive for excellence. So, oh man, I don't know why it made me laugh so much, man, but it's just, I can see him, so Manny Pacquiao such a goofy guy, man. I can see him, coming out the bathroom with his little Pacquiao smile and his little cup of pee, man. And just good move. I'm gonna test positive for excellence. Something goofy, man. So it was just funny, man. When I read the article, it just made me laugh, man. So I had to come back and just make another video just around, the topic of Manny Pacquiao and people saying he takes steroids and he uses performance enhancing drugs. I don't think I really ever touched on this subject before, as far as Manny Pacquiao goes. But I just felt like, man, I felt like that was some of the funniest stuff I've ever heard, man. That was the way he worded it was perfect, spot on. I wish I could find the guy's name so I could give him all the credit in the world, man, for writing that article. But unfortunately, it doesn't. It doesn't list his name with the article. So, it's from a forum, and it's boxingscene.com, the source for boxing online. So, apparently he just runs that page. So, whoever runs that page, man, shout out to you, man. This article is amazing. You touched on a lot of in-depth topics. I would like to read the whole thing, but I would rather you go visit his page and read it off his page. That way he can get all the attention his page needs from writing that article. But thank you for the picture, sir, and thank you for for the laugh for the day. But I'll touch on this topic, man, because I had a few comments, in the comment section about Manny Pacquiao and drugs and performance enhancers, and one of the guys was saying that Manny Pacquiao, the reason that Manny Pacquiao didn't take the fight with Floyd the first time was because he tested positive because he knew he was going to test positive for drugs or something like. But what he has to understand is it was actually the other way around. That Mayweather was trying to get the lower standard of drug testing, which is I believe USADA, and Manny Pacquiao wanted the higher standard, which I believe is VADA. Or it might be the other way around. One of them is the higher standard, and I should have looked it up, but I don't want to waste you guys' time. One of them is the higher standard, and Floyd wanted the lower of the two standards. Pacquiao wanted the higher of the two standards, and they couldn't agree upon that. And that was what was holding the fight up the first time. The second time it was over money, I believe, and then the third time it was basically because Pacquiao sued Floyd and won when he alleged that Pacquiao was taking steroids. So for anybody for it to cross your mind that Pacquiao takes steroids, just go back and reference the Manny Pacquiao lawsuit versus Floyd Mayweather that he won for defamation of character. And it should just end your argument right there. You know, he beat Floyd Mayweather in court, you know, with lawyers and judges, that he does not take steroids and never has taken steroids and never will need to take steroids. So for anybody to say that, you're just completely off. You're not studying boxing in the manner that you should be. You might think you are, but you're probably one of those guys who goes around on Facebook saying you don't know ish about boxing, which basically, if you use that term, you really don't know nothing about boxing. So I just think it's silly for people to still be beating that drum about Manny Pacquiao taking steroids, because you can clearly just go back, reference that lawsuit, and see that Floyd Mayweather is actually the one who lost. You know, and it's the reason he wouldn't give him a fight for a long time. It's because he, in that first fight, in the court system, he actually won. So, in my eyes, their record is 1-1. Nah, but if anything, it's funny that people say that, and they're mostly Mayweather fans. It's funny that they say that, though, is because Mayweather was caught basically red-handed, masking something within his system. What it was, we'll never know, because he was allowed by the drug testing people, and I believe it was USADA, to have an exemption for his therapeutic use of all the CCs he had in his IV or whatever. So for you to say Pacquiao's on steroids, I mean, Pacquiao's never been caught for anything like that. Pacquiao put in a waiver for exemption during the first fight for a shoulder, for a steroid for the shoulder, and the steroid that he was taking is not a steroid. It's actually a numbing agent, so that you don't feel the pain from your injury. Completely legal, and was denied. So it just lets you know something fishy was going on with that fight already. Whether Floyd set it up or whether, you know, there are always powers that be behind the scenes in boxing. Boxing has been controlled by organized groups for a very long time, and you know, it might not always be Mayweather pulling the strings like people think. It might be higher powers than even Mayweather. You know, Floyd didn't get all that money from himself. He got it from backers and fans supporting his fights. And when it comes to money and the people who supply the money, the fans will never know who those people are, and you'll never know the type of power or the strings that they can pull behind the scenes. So with that being said, we don't know who was making decisions of why Mayweather was allowed to have his IV and Pacquiao was denied his shot, his numbing agent for his shoulder. Which is another reason, you know, and to go into on another one of the rumors about Pacquiao not being hurt, or his shoulder not being, his rotator cuff not actually being torn. What would be the point of him basically trying to get a waiver for a shot that he really doesn't need? I mean, what would be the point? Because number one, you're outing yourself to your opponent, because it's supposed to be full disclosure, even though Pacquiao's shot was disclosed to Mayweather, but Mayweather's IV wasn't disclosed to Pacquiao. So it wasn't full disclosure. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. But why would you give up, you know, your weakness to your opponent for something you don't even need? It don't make a lot of sense for, you know. And then why would you go through with a surgery? And then why 2 years later are you back knocking guys out when 2 years ago you were just, you were fighting, you were doing some of the normal Manny Pacquiao stuff, but not to a level that people felt like you should have been. But now you're knocking the guys out again, and it's not steroids. It's basically, to me, he went up in weight, and when you go up in weight, two things have to happen. You have to get bigger, you have to get stronger. And when you're doing that with a small frame and naturally smaller muscles, you have a tendency to overwork. And what do they always say about Manny Pacquiao? He overworks. So when you're lifting weights, especially when you're doing strength and conditioning, which is the reason I think, now listen to me, at the time when Manny Pacquiao got hurt, what happened? What's the one thing that happened that nobody talks about? I'll give everybody a second to go down in the comment section, drop your comment. But what's the one thing that happened that nobody talks about? Alright, he changed strength and conditioning coaches. He went from, what's the guy, Alex Ariza, back to Justin Fortune. For what reason? Now, they say Manny Pacquiao overworks. Now, Alex Ariza is known for high-intensity workouts because people says he uses performance-enhancing drugs. Now, Alex Ariza is known for slipping stuff in people's mixes and stuff too. And I don't know him personally. I don't know if he did that. As they allegedly known for mixing stuff in people's mixes when it comes to protein shakes. But he's also known for high-intensity workouts. So they say Manny Pacquiao has a tendency to overwork. Him and Freddie Roach weren't getting along. And if you have an athlete who you're trying to build into a stronger athlete, and he has a tendency to overwork, and you're using weights, and he tears something, it goes back on the strength and conditioning coach, right? And who did he get rid of when all of this stuff started coming about his shoulder? The strength and conditioning coach, right? And he went back to Justin Fortune. So, with all that should let you know it was actually a shoulder injury. Manny Pacquiao's never tested positive for any type of steroid. Mayweather got caught using something, we don't know what, but he was masking something. He didn't need all those CCs and all that in the IV for rehydration. That just makes no sense. So for people to say that, man, you need to really be, it shows me guys don't study boxing anymore. It's more about, because everything's so quick and so fast, you can see something on Facebook, read something, and think you know everything about something. Where back in the day, you know, since everything, news wasn't so fast, you actually had to read articles and be a fan of a person and watch their fights and kind of study their whole career to know who they are. And nowadays, you just don't get that no more. So guys will say something about somebody and not even watch their fights, or have even read an article about them. So, you know, it's kind of sad for boxing to be in this state, man, and for there to be so many so-called fans of boxing who just behave in this way, man. It's really sad, man. This is gonna be a great fight, man. Manny Pacquiao versus Adrien Broner. It's coming up really fast. A lot of big things going on with my channel. A lot of things changing as far as my channel goes, and just life in general. But I want you guys to always leave me a like and subscribe, man. Tell somebody about me. If you know any homeless people, man, it's cold outside. You know, you got leftovers or something, man. Take them down there, man. Share it with people, man. Life's about sharing, man. And letting people know you care about them, man. If you ain't got nothing else to talk to them about, just tell them about boxing, man. Cardinal Red. Ali Land Boxing Talk, man. We out of here.